Don Zank, EC for Ozaukee County Emergency, ARES, excuse me, has willingly accepted my request for him to come and talk about, basically how Ozaukee ARES started, as well as the severe weather training, reporting, etc. So, Don, if you would come to the front of the room and behind me, sneaking up on me now, are you? And looking forward to this presentation. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Is it better if I stand or sit? Doesn't matter? Okay, good. I can sit then. Well, I'm going to give a little brief introduction to ARES, the Ozaukee Amateur Radio Emergency Services. There are a few people around here who have probably a lot more experience at the beginning, early days of it, but they got us off to a good start. And sharing my screen, right? All right, so ARES, the Amateur Radio Emergency Services Group. So ARES is a part of the ARRL. It strives to be an effective partner in emergency services, helping the community, situational awareness and professional communications. And it's been around since 1935. There's various groups in all parts of the United States and the world. Some of the groups are very active because they have activities going on in their area that keep them active. They have earthquakes, tsunamis, more severe weather and conditions going on than what we have here in Wisconsin, which is okay for us. It's fine with me, but it does keep us kind of quiet, so we don't have a lot going on here in the community. ARES was a pretty good part of Ozaukee County Emergency Management. Of course, after 9/11, a lot of policies and procedures changed. And nowadays, you'll hear more about AUXCOM, or auxiliary communicators. It's not really so much amateur radio as it is participating with the public service people in supporting their activities during emergency conditions. So you could be trained as AUXCOM and go to a site, you not necessarily work a radio, but you might be logging in information, checking in radios, things like that, setting up some equipment. So it's an evolving situation right now in a lot of the states. So it's, again, like a partner with everybody. This is the Wisconsin group. We're down there in the southern part, southeast county. Basically, you'll see that there's Ozaukee, Dodge, Washington, Sheboygan, Fond du Lac. Those are kind of counties in a different area. But when we're going to get into the weather spotting, you'll see that they're actually part of the district for the weather group. So back in May 1990, Stan Kaplan, WB9RQR, got volunteered to lead up an Ozaukee ARES group with the encouragement of, I can't see what I'm doing here, John Leakey. And so he came to the ORC asking for a memorandum of understanding with the group. They wanted to be able to use the repeater here. So for that, and then in July, he named the group ARES and had the first newsletter printed out. And so we work underneath the supervision of Ozaukee Emergency Management. Scott Ziegler is our Ozaukee County Emergency Manager. We also provide support for the Washington Ozaukee County Department of Public Health. Thomas Becker is our Emergency Preparedness Officer for Washington and Ozaukee County. I'll be meeting him tomorrow morning. One of the things we do help with radio communication tests between the hospitals of Ozaukee County. So right now we have Ascension Hospital in Mequon and Aurora Hospital in Grafton. We're looking at adding Frederick, the new hospital down in Mequon, maybe Cedar Community in West Bend, and then partnering with the Washington County groups, hospitals, and public health. So in July 7th, 1991, was our first real emergency that they got activated for when some severe winds hit the northern part of the county. They handled emergency traffic for about 4 hours, and about $1 million of property damage occurred. One of the things that ARES and Amateur Radio has been good partners with is the National Weather Service. So that's been existing since 1950. In Wisconsin, they've had a group since 1964 doing the Badger Weather Net, 80-meter net on every morning, providing reports from around Wisconsin for the weather group and severe weather reports. It's still meeting and been going on for quite some time. And then we have the SOLCOM, or the Sullivan Committee, which sets up as the interface between amateur radio in Southeast Wisconsin at the ARES groups and other groups, and office in Sullivan. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about weather spotting. It's kind of one of the important roles that we do. And again, the National Weather Service recognizes amateur radios and what they can bring to the table and help them out. This is from their Weather Spotters Field Guide, because spotters come from all walks of life. They can be anybody, public service people, airline pilots. People are generally most likely out and about in the environment or see what things are going on. So they have Doppler radar. They got all kinds of new technology nowadays, but you can't see everything that's going on out there. So what we help do is fill gaps in on what's happening on the ground back to the weather office. And so this is volunteer groups. We have several volunteer groups, several amateur radio groups in this area, and we have several public safety groups that work in the area as well. But you know, we have emergency services and public safety people as spotters, but they are kind of busy with other activities. So we kind of help fill in those spots. Again, as the Sullivan is kind of out in far southeast Wisconsin, farther and farther away the sites are, the less the radar can see, especially with things happening on the ground. So that's what amateur radio and spotters can bring to the table. And again, the aspect ratio problem with radars as you get farther and farther away from the radar site. So these are the counties that the National Weather Service office in Milwaukee cover. So it goes all the way out west to Sauk, Iowa, and Lafayette counties, goes up north to Marquette, Greene, Fond du Lac, and Sheboygan counties. Then along the coastline with the Sheboygan, Ozaukee, Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha. So it covers a great big area of the southeast state. It's like 30% of the population is in this area, or 60% of the population of the state lives in this one area here. It also extends out to across into the waters. Ozaukee County actually extends out into Lake Michigan. So they're responsible for the nearshore forecast on severe weather as well. And you can see Sullivan's kind of like down by the Jefferson, Waukesha border, right down there, right around that area. And you can see as you get farther north, Sheboygan, Fond du Lac, Green Lake, Marquette counties, you're farther and farther away from their radar site. You also most of the population in this area is concentrated way down in the bottom right-hand corner. You have Dane County, which is Madison, is the other one. But now as you get up into Washington, Ozaukee, Dodge counties, your cities get smaller. They're more spread out. So there's a lot of areas that aren't covered. And And so the advantage of having spotters, say, to the west and covering an area, you can see whether it's coming into Washington or Ozaukee County, and that's going to be affecting you. So you can get the heads up on what's coming into your area. So that's why one of the focuses that we try to get is to get more people into these remote areas out in the boonies out there, to say, to be involved with weather spotting. And so we're going to go through the convective weather program. So we have the convective weather season, which is basically our springtime weather type, thunderstorms and tornadoes. We have winter data observations, and then there's some other things that we can do during the year as well for that, help the weather office. So they like people that play, they want to know how, they want everybody to be trained and know how to respond and how to work with the group. And so like they have the availability of information now. You can get well in advance of when weather's coming and be prepared when the severe weather. It does kind of work out nice. This is severe weather week in Wisconsin this week. Tomorrow is a tornado drill. 1:45 and 6:45, you'll hear the sirens going off, hopefully, maybe. So be prepared for that. And it's a good time to prepare to be ready for some severe weather this summer. So again, the SOLCOM is the Sullivan Weather Group. They set up the office in the weather office, so they have a radio station out there. Actually, there's like 3 stations monitoring 3 repeaters out there. So you have your severe convective weather, that's like 85%. Winter weather, another 10%. Now, the winter weather is a little bit different, is that it moves a lot slower than thunderstorms. Thunderstorms and tornadoes are kind of zipping through, so time is kind of more of important. A winter weather event could be, several hours long with a lot of snowfall, some winds. So it doesn't require the timeliness as, say, the severe weather in spring and fall, summer. So they don't want to take information from anybody. They prefer if you call into the office or if you're sending something in that you've been a trained spotter. So they have some trust in you, understand the importance of the goals, and we don't take unobserved events or somebody calls in and says somebody saw something. They want us to know the person that actually saw it. So if there are questions, concerns, they can go back to that person, maybe get some more clarification, more understanding of what exactly they saw. So there can be always some confusion about what's going on out there. So, but spotting is not the same as chasing. There's a lot of tornado chasers, and they go down south looking for tornadoes. We don't do that. We prefer just to keep you safe and sound. So we don't send anybody out, especially at night, going looking for severe weather. It's not a smart thing to do. So we're basically more spotting than chasing severe weather. Because like some spotter team attributes are good personal safety. Not only your safety, the safety of the team, but safety of your family. So the first thing before anything else is make sure your house, your family, and everything else is secure and safe. Don't be going out chasing things and then leaving everybody else out alone. So that's the first thing. Accuracy. There's things that you get can be measured. Sometimes wind is a tough one to measure, so you kind of take an estimate. Hailstones, they could be measured or they could be estimated. If there's a large hailstones coming down, you may not want to go outside and try to go outside and measure it till later on. but you could give a report of an estimated size. And then try to get the weather reports into the group as quickly as possible. Again, severe weather in the summertime is moving fast, so you want to be able to get the reports into the weather office as quick as possible. So preparing for some severe weather. So you can go on the Storm Prediction Center on the weather site. They give you some ideas of what's coming up from 12 hours to 3 days ahead. You can monitor the weather radio, and just your guys on TV, ladies and gentlemen on TV, can give you some idea of any kind of expected weather. So 8 days to 2 hours beforehand, they start finalizing what key roles are going to be there. If we have the weather stations set up, but they don't always activate it. If they see there's some severe weather coming, but it doesn't really look like it's going to be requiring spotter activity, they'll just postpone that, and you can send in reports on severe weather reports, but they won't activate the radios. And 4 hours prior, that's when maybe start seeing things on the radar. Everybody has mostly an app on your phone that they can take a look and kind of get you ready to see what's coming. And either 1 hour prior, or if you're like watching some weather moving in from the west, if it's entering into Washington County, you might want to start preparing. We might set up a preliminary net for severe weather, and preparing and get ready for who's available and who's people can check in. And then so when the severe weather does hit, we're not scrambling to get on the radios, but we're already there. So we'll have a net control station that's basically going to take control of everybody in our group. They'll handle reports. Then when Thursday night nets, we have a regular Thursday night training program. We practice managing operations, protocols, doing weather reporting. So it's being a good net control station is an important part of our responsibilities. Then we have the relay station. So between the net control station and the relay station is actually the one talking to the team at the weather office. So they're going to take the reports that come into the net control station and then relay those out to the Sullivan group. So there's a procedure that we have. We train every month at the end of the month, generally on the last Tuesday of the month, providing reports back into the weather office. We've had a lot of new people come on board, so the training's been kind of extensive, and going through a lot of step-by-step procedures to get everybody to be effective communicators back to the weather office. So there's the SOLCOM backbone, and then there's the relay station. So this, so the backbone is the repeaters out there that take the messages and get it back into the weather office, and but the picture probably shows it the best. So over on the left-hand side, you have the field teams domain. So that would be like ARES, and there would be a net control station there in the yellow. We have all spotters there checking in with the net, and we got a pretty good group here of people up in Port Washington. We have people here in Grafton, Cedarburg area. We have people down in Mequon. So we got pretty good coverage. We got somebody up in Fredonia. So we got pretty good coverage of Ozaukee County, basically from Port Washington south. Could probably use a little more people up in the northern area and maybe out west of us too. But So we have a group that would all check in. Somebody would be assigned to be the relay station, and that relay station would check in to using that repeater to Sullivan Weather, using the backbone repeater or backup channel, whatever what needs to be done, and get the information from the spotters to Sullivan Weather. And so this is the whole setup. We have basically 3 areas or 3 repeaters that you want to look at. We have Milwaukee East, which is what would be us. We have the West area, and then we have a central area. So you have all these groups on the far left-hand side. Again, all net control stations, all these different various groups from different counties taking weather reports. And then you have all these relay stations calling in to these through the repeaters to Sullivan Weather. So it gets to be rather extensive and can be rather intense if the weather is really bad. So there has to be some good procedures to get that communication effectively in from all these groups into Sullivan Weather. Sometimes it can be a little frustrating because if there's a lot of things going on, it can be sometimes a little tough getting in there. But a little patience and perseverance should get you in there. So we have the West repeater. That's Yellow Thunder Amateur Radio Club. The Central is Rock County. And then the Milwaukee Area Amateur Radio Group sponsors the repeater for the East area. So again, one station, there's one person monitoring all these radios and all the calls coming in. So and it's a pretty small little office out there in Sullivan. So the net controls, again, for the relay groups are taking in the check-ins, taking in reports, and then making sure people check out. So we want to make sure everybody's safe. So when you check in, we want to make sure you get checked out. And then the relay operator for the severe weather net is again taking all the reports and getting those out to Sullivan. So we to make this go smoothly and quickly, we have a procedure, and it's basically who observed the event, what was observed, when the event was observed, and where. And there's some procedures on setting up from giving the direction and position where you are. And we have a list of events. The radio station operator at Sullivan has the same list, so he can just easily go right down the list, and then he can pass that on to the severe weather operators out there in the weather office. So again, again, we don't take secondhand reports. We want the person that actually saw the condition. Again, if there's some questions about what actually they're observing, where they're observing it, we might have to go back to that person and get some more information. So we want to have it accurate information. The convective weather criteria, we'll go through that there in a little bit. And then the time the event occurred. Now, the goal is to try to have these reported to the office within 75 to 90 seconds. So that means it has to move along pretty fast. So that's why we have procedures, and we practice the procedures because we want it to go 1, 2, 3. You know, if we're doing message handling, then accuracy is more important, and you want to talk a little bit slower so everybody can understand things. You have to spell things out. You know, give them figures 2, 3, but on here, the speed is kind of a little bit more important. And then addresses can be done by latitude, longitude, speed addresses, or city reference location points. So this is the top part of the severe weather criteria. The first 3 up there are tornado waterspout, the funnel cloud, or rotating wall cloud. So basically that point is a little bit different from the rest because you're going to be looking at this tornado, or you're going to be seeing it from your location, and they want to know which direction that you are looking at for that event. You know, if you're looking north out of Grafton, you'll say, you know, north or northwest. But it's kind of difficult to say what distance it is between you and the tornado. So basically, all you can really do is give a direction. Sometimes you can't really tell if it's on the ground or not, especially if it's farther away, more buildings are in the way. So there's other things, other concerns. Water spouts, it can happen out there on Lake Michigan. So again, that's another one that's reportable back to the weather office. From there, we go into severe damage. We have like tree branches that are snapped, structural damage to buildings, collapsed light poles, cave-ins, mudslides, power lines are down, things in that event. Tree branches greater than 3 inches in diameter. Again, if you see something like that, you don't have to go out and measure it, especially if there's a storm going on. You just can say estimate it was 3 or 4 inches in diameter. You can also mention if the tree seems to be a healthy tree, or if the tree is, you know, if it's a dead tree, that I'll give them some information as well. Severe winds, 58 miles or greater. Again, it's measured or estimated. Estimating wind speeds is kind of difficult because it depends on how you're measuring between how the trees are moving or what furniture is flying across the backyard. So it's most of the time it's just going to be an estimated speed. Severe hail is 1 inch or greater. Again, measured or estimated. If there's 1 inch hail out there, I would suggest not going out there to measure it. I would say, you know, just estimate it that it's out there and let them reply. And then after the event, things settle down, maybe you can go out there and grab a few and see what they have. Severe flooding is any water over the banks of roads that are closed, washed out banks, you know, especially like up in Saukville along the Milwaukee River. That always gets to be a problem up there. And then in springtime, although not too much this year, when you have a lot of snowfall, you have a lot of ice on the river, then you have like this past weeks or so, some heavy rains. You'll get the river will come up, the ice starts breaking up, and you can get some severe icing dams and water coming across. Even though we're on Pioneer Road, the one farmhouse had to be rescued by the Grafton Fire Department because the river was starting to come up and the road was closed coming out of there. Then we have the non-severe weather criteria. This is a smaller hail, minor hail, 3/4 inch to 7/8 inch, minor damage, and smaller tree branches or little cosmetic damage to buildings, minor flooding. You get some roads kind of backed up over by the curb, visibility, some fog or blowing smoke, rainfall. If you have a good rain gauge, you can measure if there's a severe amount of rain coming down over like an hour or 15 minutes, and then minor winds again estimated. And now there's two parts of this. There's the severe weather criteria, which we mentioned at top, and then the non-severe criteria. And sometimes, depending on the event, the weather office will say, we only want the severe weather criteria. So then all this other stuff will go off, and they don't want those reports. Most of the time, they'll take both the severe and non-severe criteria. Most of the times it depends on the storms. We haven't had that many storms where it's been just severe. And generally a lot of times you'll have one area that maybe has a lot of severe weather and another area that doesn't have as much severe weather. So the reports that come in will be helpful. And again, what can happen in one spot of Ozaukee County and what's happening up in another spot can be two completely different things. Last summer, so there's southern side of Cedarburg, and I had a downpour come down, and I come down downtown Cedarburg, and it's dry as can be. So that's why the more spotters and people out there looking at things, the more information that we can get back to them. So we have reference locations. So we have like Cedarburg is the intersection of Columbia Road and Washington Avenue. So if you live in Cedarburg, you say you could live 2 miles north. You can say 2 miles north of Cedarburg. And they know that's from the intersection of Columbia Road and Washington Avenue. So they can spot that on their map at the office. Fort Washington, State Highway 32 and Main Street, Saukville. So all these different areas have, different cities have different locations. It makes it a little bit easier for the weather guy back at the office. Sometimes the latitude and longitude takes a little bit more time for them to translate that. And it just gives a little bit more detail, like not more detail, but more generalized area about where you're looking at for information. And then the other important part is make sure you say Ozaukee County, because the people out there might are familiar with Jefferson County, but they're not familiar with Ozaukee County and places like Wabaka and Fredonia. So, again, the weather's the staff at the office, so they'll determine whether we're going to be supporting an event or not. We can, as our ARES team, we can activate anytime we want to at our discretion. Even if there's nobody at the office, we can still come together and monitor conditions and report those. Amateur radio is a big part of it. It doesn't have to be, it's not the whole part of it though, but it is like a good part of it. Again, the program is teamwork, understanding where you fit in and knowing your skills, and working with the groups there. So, ARES repeaters at 147.33. You can get the severe weather report off of our site. Well, I should have brought a few here. And so, if there's some weather coming in, please join us. We appreciate it. You can also submit reports. If there is not radio, you can submit a report through the website. They have a Facebook site, email, mobile apps. So you have things like MPing that just basically provides a report on what weather conditions are there. You have the Milwaukee Sullivan Storm Spotter page. There's a good information there. There's training schedule, awareness weeks, how to submit other reports on the site. There's the COCO-ROS group, takes rain and snow measurements. Basically, every morning you can report in conditions from your backyard. All you have to do is go out. They have a rain gauge and a ruler, and you can measure snow and take a report and give that to them on conditions in your backyard. So spotter training is Thursday, May 1st, 6:30, 8:30 up at the Ozaukee County Fairgrounds. And so if you got some time, come on up there and get some good information about spotter training. It's more interesting now than it has been in the past because people have cell phones and videos on their cell phones. So you see them putting themselves in some nice dangerous positions in there. So that's it. Any questions, concerns?
I was just going to say that even going to the training, my wife did it, and I did it a couple of years ago, not so much because we're going to be spotters, but it's a lot of good educational information about weather and what's the difference between a wall cloud and the funnel, all that kind of good stuff. So it was good just from that aspect. So I would recommend it if you just want to learn more about the weather around you.
They make it a little bit more interesting than it has been in the past. So some good information.
Todd Zumach, I'm part of the ARES group. Just a couple things. This is mostly 2-meter activity. That wasn't really explicitly stated, but that's how we're doing most of our
Yes.
communications.
Yep.
And we use both the repeater that Don mentioned, but also we do a lot of our work is simplex. And when we do our summertime remote where guys will distribute themselves across the county, we're testing how well our radios can communicate back to each other. We're finding the blind spots within the county. So it's kind of a lot of fun. It gives you a chance to get outdoors. We have 14 active people on our normal net call list, and we typically have 6 to 8 people on a typical Thursday night net. So if you do want to have a chance just to kind of listen in, 147-30-33 at 8 o'clock on Thursday nights, the first Thursday, second Thursday, and fourth Thursday, right, Don?
If it's a 5 Thursday month. There's always a catch. Thank you. All right.